What Usyk needs the most is to make up his mind. Alexander Usyk stands at the top of boxing, and at 38 years old, he's done it all. But here's the thing about reaching the summit. You can't stay there forever. Usyk recently pulled out of fighting mandatory challenger Joseph Parker, citing a back injury. The plan was simple: defend the WBO title, keep the reign going. But while Usyk was sidelined, something happened. Fabio Wardley stepped up to face Parker this past weekend and stopped him in the 11th round. Now Wardley is the mandatory challenger, and promoter Frank Warren says the fight is next. All 4 belts on the line. Usyk reversed his retirement plans. He said he'd hang them up after one more fight, maybe 2. Now he's saying he'll fight until he's 41. That gives him a few more years, but the clock is ticking louder than ever. He's already ruled out facing rising star Moses Itama, the 20-year-old knockout artist everyone's talking about. Usyk's reasoning? He's young, he doesn't hit grandpas. The Ukrainian has nothing left to prove. He's beaten everyone. Anthony Joshua twice, Tyson Fury twice, Daniel Dubois twice. He's held every belt worth holding, but standing still isn't an option in boxing. The sanctioning bodies don't wait, and neither do the fighters circling his throne. What Usyk needs right now is clarity. He needs to choose his final chapter. Does he take the mandatory against Wardley? Does he chase one more legacy fight? Does he walk away on top? The difference between a perfect ending and a career that fades is just one decision. And right now, Usyk's at the crossroads. What Tank needs the most right now is to take real rights. Gervonta Davis walked into March 1st at the Barclays Center with a perfect 30-0 record and a reputation as one of boxing's biggest stars. He walked out with questions he's never had to answer before. The fight against Lamont Roach ended in a controversial majority draw. 2 judges scored it 114 to 114. One had it 115 to 113 for Davis. But the real story happened in the 9th round. Davis took a knee after getting touched by a jab. He said grease from his hair got in his eyes. The referee didn't call it a knockdown. If he had, Roach wins the fight. Instead, Davis kept his unbeaten record. Technically, but everyone saw what happened. The New York State Athletic Commission acknowledged the referee made the wrong call, but refused to overturn the result. Roach's team filed an appeal. It went nowhere. Davis called for a rematch by the end of May. Roach said the contract was already signed, claiming Davis put in a rematch clause just in case you lost. Then Davis went silent on it. Instead, he announced an exhibition fight with Jake Paul on November 14th in Miami, 10 rounds at 195 pounds wearing 12-ounce gloves, streaming on Netflix. It won't count on his record. It's a money grab, plain and simple. Davis showed up to the press conference looking disengaged. He called Paul a clown, said boxing is dead, and suggested he might retire after the exhibition. He told fans he doesn't care what they think about his choices. What Gervonta Davis needs right now is to decide who he is. Is he the face of boxing, the guy who takes on all challengers, or is he cashing out? Because right now, he's got a draw on his record that feels like a loss, a mandatory rematch he's avoiding, and an exhibition against an influencer that won't prove anything. Davis said in December he wanted to fight 3 times in 2025 and stay active. He's fought once. The Roach fight exposed him in ways he's never been exposed before. The rematch would give him a chance to prove it was a fluke, but instead, he's fighting Jake Paul for a payday while the boxing world watches his credibility slip. Tank needs to make a choice. Run it back with Roach and silence the doubters, or admit he's more interested in easy money than legacy. What Canelo needs right now is time off. Canelo Alvarez spent years at the top of boxing. He was the undisputed super middleweight champion, the face of the sport, the biggest draw in the game. Then September 13th happened. Terence Crawford moved up 2 weight classes and did what many thought was impossible. He outboxed Canelo for 12 rounds at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in front of over 70,000 fans. The judges scored it 116 to 112, 115 to 113, and 115 to 113. Crawford became the first man to become undisputed champion in 3 different weight classes. Canelo lost his belts, his 6-fight win streak ended, his aura cracked. It wasn't a robbery, it wasn't controversial. Crawford was simply better. He used speed, movement, and timing to make Canelo miss. By the 6th round, Crawford was landing big left hands and smiling. By the 8th, Canelo was letting it slip away. He couldn't stop the jabs. He couldn't land his power shots. Crawford walked him down until the final bell. The fight streamed on Netflix. No pay-per-view. The entire world watched Canelo get dismantled. Now he's 35 years old with a decision to make. Reports came out in late September that Canelo needs elbow surgery. His return has been pushed to mid to late 2026. He signed a 4-fight deal with Turki Alalshik and Riyadh season worth a reported $400 million. He beat William Skull in May to set up the Crawford fight. That was supposed to be the beginning of a Saudi-backed legacy run. Instead, it became the beginning of questions Canelo's never had to answer. Can he come back from this? Does he want to? He's made over $700 million in his career. He's won titles in 4 weight classes. He's beaten everyone except Floyd Mayweather. Dimitri Bivol, and now Terence Crawford. There's nothing left to prove, everything left to question. What Canelo needs right now is honesty with himself. The surgery buys him time to think, but when he comes back in 2026, he'll be 36, recovering from elbow surgery and chasing a legacy that just took a hit. Does he fight Crawford again in a rematch? Does he move back down in weight? Does he take easier fights to rebuild? Or does he walk away? Because the hardest thing for a champion to do is admit when the throne doesn't feel the same anymore. What Terence Crawford needs right now is an interesting matchup. Terence Crawford just did the impossible. He moved up 2 weight classes, walked into Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in front of 70,000 fans, and beat Canelo Alvarez. Unanimous decision. All 3 judges had it for Crawford. He became the first male boxer in history to win undisputed titles in 3 different weight classes. At 37 years old, he's now 42-0 with nothing left to prove. So what does he do next? That's the question nobody can answer, not even Crawford. Minutes after beating Canelo, Netflix's Max Kellerman asked him if that was his last fight. Crawford didn't say no. Like I said before, I don't know. I gotta sit down with my team and we're going to talk about it. Days later on Ariel Helwani's show, he said the same thing. It's still up in the air. Could be. I'm just saying it could be, it may not be. His trainer Brian McIntyre said Crawford wants to fight again. Maybe 2 or 3 more times, but Crawford himself keeps the door open to walking away. Roy Jones Jr. told him to retire now and not make the same mistakes he did. Others are calling for him to fight David Benavidez, Dimitri Bivol, or drop down to middleweight for a 6th division title. But here's the problem. Crawford already said he doesn't want to fight Benavidez. The size difference is too much. Benavidez is a big dude. He's 6 foot something. Then he's gonna come in 190, 200 pounds. The only reason why I entertain Canelo is because he's not a big dude. A Canelo rematch is the money fight. Crawford made $10 million for the first one. Canelo made over $100 million. If they run it back, Crawford gets a bigger cut and another massive payday. But there's no rematch clause. It would have to be negotiated, and Canelo needs elbow surgery, which pushes his return to mid-2026. What Terence Crawford needs right now is to make a decision while he's still on top. He's 38 in a few months. He's undefeated. He just beat the face of boxing. He has nothing left to prove and everything to lose. The WBA already stripped him of his light middleweight title because he's not going back down. He can retire right now as one of the greatest ever. Or he can keep fighting and risk tarnishing a perfect legacy. Crawford said it himself years ago. I'm going to retire from boxing before I let boxing retire me. The question is whether he means it, because right now, he's standing at the top of the mountain with 2 paths in front of him. Walk away a legend, or keep climbing and see what happens. The hardest fights aren't always in the ring. What Ryan Garcia needs the most right now is to get his shit together. Ryan Garcia spent a year watching from the outside, 1 year suspended, 1 year stripped of the biggest win of his career, 1 year of questions about who he really is. April 20th, 2024. Garcia beat Devin Haney, dropped him 3 times, won by majority decision. Then he tested positive for Ostarine in 2 separate drug tests. The New York State Athletic Commission overturned the result to a no contest, suspended him for a year, fined him $10,000, and made him forfeit $1.2 million. Garcia said he was innocent. He said he never intentionally took a banned substance. Nobody believed him. Then in July 2024, while still suspended, Garcia went on social media and posted hateful comments, racial slurs, laughing about violence. The WBC expelled him. His own parents released a statement saying those comments didn't reflect who he is and that he needs help. The suspension ended April 20th, 2025. Garcia was cleared to fight. The plan was simple. Beat Rolly Romero on May 2nd in Times Square. Set up the rematch with Haney in October. Make millions. Reclaim his name. Rolly Romero had other plans. Second round, Romero landed a left hook. Garcia went down. He got up, but he never recovered. He looked sluggish, hesitant, afraid to throw his left hook, afraid to take risks. Romero walked him down and outworked him for 12 rounds. The judges scored it 115-112, 115-112, and 118-109, all for Romero. Garcia's comeback was a disaster. After the fight, he blamed the layoff. The whole year took a lot out of my body. But the truth is simpler. He looked like a fighter who didn't belong in the ring anymore. What Ryan Garcia needs right now is honesty. Not with the commission, not with the fans, with himself. The year off didn't just take him out of the ring, it exposed everything. The positive tests, the mental health struggles, the suspension, the WBC expulsion. In 6 months, Garcia went from beating Haney to being an outcast. And now, he's lost to Rolly Romero. The Haney rematch is in doubt. His credibility is gone. His stock has crashed. He's 26 years old with a 24-2 record, but one of those wins doesn't count, and the other loss just showed the world he might not have it anymore. Garcia needs to step away and figure out who he wants to be, because the talent is still there. But talent doesn't matter if everything else is broken. Right now, Ryan Garcia doesn't need another fight. He needs help, and until he gets it, the ring is the last place he should be. What Tyson Fury needs the most right now is to make up his mind. Tyson Fury has retired from boxing 5 times. This is retirement number 5, announced in January 2025, 1 month after losing to Alexander Usyk for the second time. Back-to-back defeats, the first losses of his career. He posted a video on Instagram. "I'd like to announce my retirement from boxing." Nobody believed him. In July, Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh announced Fury told him he'd be back for Riyadh season 2026. Fury himself posted on Instagram claiming he'd fight Usyk in a trilogy at Wembley Stadium on April 18, 2026. His promoter Frank Warren said Fury told him categorically that he wants to fight next year. Then, just days ago, everything changed. "There's no actual reason for me to go back in the boxing ring," Fury said. "I'm 37 years old, I've been punched for the last 25 years. It used to be for the money, the titles, but now I've got more money than I can spend." He said even £1 billion wouldn't change his mind. He talked about brain damage, about having all his faculties. For the first time, Fury sounded serious about walking away. But this is Tyson Fury. He's retired 5 times and came back every single time. The pattern is clear. What Tyson Fury needs right now is certainty. What Dmitry Bivol needs right now is to fight. Dmitry Bivol beat Artur Beterbiev by majority decision in February 2025. He avenged his only career loss and became the undisputed light heavyweight champion. He had all 4 belts, the Ring Magazine title. He was 24-1, at the top of the division, the best light heavyweight in the world. 8 months later, he hasn't defended a single belt. In August, Bivol announced he underwent back surgery for an injury he'd been dealing with for over 10 years. It kept getting worse with each training camp. The recovery was expected to take 6 to 8 weeks. He's out for the rest of 2025. His manager says he's targeting an early 2026 return, likely with a tune-up fight first, but the belts are slipping away. In April, before the surgery, Bivol vacated his WBC title to avoid fighting mandatory challenger David Benavidez. The WBC ordered the fight. Bivol chose not to take it. He wanted the Beterbiev trilogy instead. David Benavidez was elevated to full WBC champion. Then the IBF ordered Bivol to face Michael Eifert, who's been waiting for over 2 years for his mandatory shot. Beterbiev accused Bivol of taking the path of retreat after their planned trilogy in Russia fell through. Beterbiev moved on. He's fighting Dion Nicholson in November. He's 34 years old. He just achieved the biggest win of his career. He's undisputed, but he's been sitting on those belts for 8 months without a defense. The mandatory challengers are stacking up. The sanctioning bodies are losing patience. And the longer he waits, the more the moment slips away. Naoya Inoue fought 3 times in 2025. He knocked out Yejun Kim in January. He stopped Ramon Cardenas in May. He beat Murodjon Akhmadaliev by unanimous decision in September, and he's scheduled to fight Alan Picasso on December 27th in Riyadh. 4 fights in 1 year. All defenses for the undisputed title. After beating Akhmadaliev, Inoue called out Junto Nakatani, who was ringside watching. Naoya Inoue is doing everything right. He's active. He's dominant. He's fighting the best available opponents. He's a 4-division champion, a 2-time undisputed champion, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. So what does Naoya Inoue need? Nothing. And that's the problem. Inoue has cleaned out super bantamweight. The super fight with Nakatani is tentatively planned for spring 2026 at the Tokyo Dome. That's a massive fight in Japan, but it's the only fight left that feels significant. What Devin Haney needs right now is to find himself again. The fighter who beat Vasily Lomachenko, who outboxed George Kambosos Jr. twice, who became undisputed at lightweight. That version of Haney is gone. What's left is a fighter who looks like he's still reliving the Garcia fight. 6 months after Ramirez, and he still looked shell-shocked. Haney is 26 years old. He was supposed to be entering his prime. Instead, he's fighting for survival. The Ryan Garcia rematch is the money fight. But if Norman knocks him out on November 22nd, that fight disappears. And Haney's career as an elite fighter might go with it. The problem isn't just physical, it's mental. Haney looked afraid against Ramirez, hesitant, like he was waiting to get hit. That's not the fighter who dominated lightweight. That's a fighter who's been broken. What Haney needs is to prove he's still him. To show the Garcia fight didn't end his career. To stand in the pocket and fight like he used to. But that's easier said than done when you're facing a 24-year-old knockout artist who just flattened his last opponent with 1 punch. Haney's at a crossroads. Win, and he's back. He gets the Garcia rematch. He gets the big money. He gets his reputation back. Lose, and it's over. Not his career, but his career as a top-level fighter, as someone people take seriously.